Today, we're diving into the story of Advaita Ācārya, a man with a title that sounds, well, almost impossible, the man who called God down to earth.
I mean, think about that for a second. Could a single person, just through their own will and devotion, actually get the Supreme Being to appear? It's a huge question. Well, what if I told you that in the Vaishnava tradition, this isn't just some philosophical thought experiment? No, it's the real story of a real person who believed the world was in such trouble, he had to make that call. So to really get why he felt this was so urgent, we have to kind of step back in time and see the world through his eyes, a world that to him had completely lost its way. And for him, this wasn't just some casual observation. It was a deep, personal, gut-wrenching pain. He looked around and saw a society just completely swallowed up by materialism, and it really genuinely hurt him. He was convinced that this relentless chase for temporary, material things was the root cause of so much suffering. People had just forgotten their deeper spiritual purpose, and he decided that only a huge, divine intervention could possibly set things right. All right, so who was this man who felt the weight of the entire world on his shoulders? Let's get to know him. First off, this isn't a myth. Advaita Ācārya was a real historical person. He was born back in the 15th century and lived an incredibly long life, 125 years. He became this absolute pillar of the spiritual community in Bengal. His birth name was Kamalaksha, and he was the son of devout parents. He went on to study under the great spiritual master Madhvendra Puri. And he wasn't some fringe character. He was a seriously respected scholar and the leader of the Vaishnava community where he lived in Shantipur. Okay, so we've got the historical man. But now, this is where the story goes from history to theology, and we get into the how. How could he possibly call God? Well, it's all about who his followers believe he truly was. So according to the Gaudiya Vaiṣṇava texts, Advaita Ācārya was, well, way more than just a man. He was seen as a combined incarnation of two immense divine beings, Mahā-Viṣṇu, the one who actually creates all the material universes, and Sadāśiva, a spiritual expansion of Lord Shiva. And that is the key here. His power was believed to come directly from this divine source. This is why his call could be heard. You know, his name itself is basically a dead giveaway. Advaita literally means non-different, pointing to his oneness with the Supreme Lord. And Ācārya means teacher, because his whole purpose was to teach devotion by living it himself. So, he's got the motive, a world in trouble, and he's got the means, this incredible divine nature. The question is, what exactly did he do? His conclusion was, frankly, radical. He decided that no ordinary teacher, no partial incarnation was going to be enough to turn the tide. The only solution was for the Supreme Lord, Kṛṣṇa himself, to come down in person. So he began this very specific, very intense ritual. He made offerings of sacred Ganges water and Tulasī leaves, but the most crucial part was his voice. He started calling out, shouting, roaring with pure devotion, begging for the Lord to appear. And we're not talking about a quiet, whispered prayer here. The scriptures describe his calls as being so powerful that they literally pierced through the layers of the material cosmos, reached into the spiritual realm, and basically demanded a response. So, the ultimate question, right? Did it work? Did anyone actually answer this cosmic SOS? And according to the tradition, the answer is a resounding yes. His call was answered. Śrī Chaitanya Mahāprabhu appeared in Mayapur, and he is considered to be Kṛṣṇa himself, who came in the form of his own devotee to teach everyone the path for this age. But Advaita Ācārya's job wasn't done, not by a long shot. Once Lord Chaitanya appeared, Advaita became one of his closest associates, helping to kickstart the saṅkīrtana movement, the public chanting of the holy names, which was the very reason Lord Chaitanya came. But hold on, because this is where the story reveals its most profound and beautiful layer. It's this amazing paradox about power, identity, and what devotion really means. You see, Advaita Ācārya represents this really unique idea called the Bhakta avatar. It means an incarnation of the Lord who doesn't come as God, with all the power and glory on display. Instead, he comes in the role of a perfect devotee, a bhakta, to show the rest of us how it's done. I mean, just listen to his own words. Even though he was the divine being who called Lord Chaitanya down, he constantly, repeatedly defined himself as a servant. He was teaching that the greatest spiritual happiness isn't in being the boss, but in the feeling of loving service. And that right there is the mind-blowing takeaway. The very being identified as the creator of universes chose to live his life as a humble devotee. He showed that being a servant of the Supreme is actually a higher, sweeter position than even being the master. So it leaves us with this incredible thought to chew on. What does it teach us about power, about divinity, about love, when the one who creates everything chooses to take on the role of the one who serves? It kind of suggests that the greatest power might just be found in the greatest humility.